Hello and welcome to Kojos Trick Lab. Today I'm going to talk to you about my touchdown raise challenge. Now I talked about this a while back, how I was going to do it. I didn't make it to 1,000, broke the old ankle before I got there. I got to 930, but my main goal was to get a good enough touchdown raise to do a triple cork out of and for it to look somewhat decent. Now it doesn't look amazing, it's not how I'd want it to look, but it doesn't look terrible either. It's okay. It's alright. I'm not mad about it. I'm really happy with the progress that I made over those 930 reps. So I just wanted to share with you my process for working through this trick. As out of all of the tricks in tricking, I found this one harder than any of the tricks. So the fact that I managed to progress so much in it, I think that means a lot. And I think if you follow this kind of process, then you'll be able to progress even in the tricks that you find incredibly hard. Even if other people do them easy, it could be a B-twist, it could be anything, but there's probably a trick that you find really, really hard. So hopefully this will help you to sort it out. Just to give a bit of background on the challenge, now I could already do a touchdown raise before I started doing the challenge, but it was a really bad touchdown raise. It really hurt my wrist and I took off, turned all the way around, so I was pretty much turning and then doing like a Valdez. It was really awkward. I could sometimes get power from it, like I'd done dub from it, but that doesn't mean I could do a good touchdown raise. It was kind of a terrible touchdown raise, but I'm just good at double corks, so I managed to squeeze it out anyway. For the 1,000 rep challenge, I completely changed the way I did the trick. I pretty much learnt a brand new trick. It wasn't like I improved my old touchdown raise, I just learnt it again with a brand new technique, trying to do it properly. I based my technique mainly off watching a lot of Michael Guthrie, because obviously he has the best touchdown raise in the world, the most powerful one anyway. I know there's a couple of other really powerful ones like Alexander's, Jacob Pinto's, but Guthrie's the one who's done quad cork out of it and triple cork swing. So for argument's sake, I think he's got the most powerful touchdown raise. So I studied his one a lot. When I first started, I watched Alexander's and Vivian's tutorials a few times. Alexander's tutorial really helped me with the first steps towards getting the move. Keeping the arms really wide the whole way through, that helped me just get the basic motion. Now, for the first 100 reps, the main thing I was focusing on was taking off with my foot facing forwards. So I was just trying to fix that. And then after I fixed that, there were a range of other things I needed to fix. I noticed I was swinging my arms kind of like this as I was stepping into it, when all of the good people's arms are way apart. Their left arm was already swinging round and reaching for the ground as they left the floor, and mine was here. So then I got to work fixing that, and then I thought about fixing my right arm and keeping it forwards as I'm taking off. Then I tried to fix the spot, which is still not fixed, but it's got a lot better. Because if you look at the best touchdown raises, they can see the ground all the way through the trick. So piece by piece, I just identified different problems and slowly fixed them. Vivian Yulu really helped me. He came to visit during the challenge and he told me what I was doing wrong with my arms, that I was swinging them too late. Because actually, you want to swing your arms before you even step into it. Your arm should already be reaching over for the floor as you're stepping into it. That made a huge difference, as that meant I was much lower to the ground, it was much less impact on my wrist, and it started giving me a load more power. Through the whole of this process, before every session, I'd look at slow motion touchdown raises, and I'd look at last session's touchdown raises and try and identify the main things that needed fixing. And I'd think about these in every single one that I did. That really helped, because you can actually change these fundamental issues with your trick. A lot of people message me with why they can't do things like, oh, I can't kick my leg back though. And it's like, nah, if you focus on kicking your leg back in that trick, if you really focus on it, try it 200 times, you'll be kicking your leg back. It's all fixable. Any of your problems, even if you've been doing the same problem for 5 years, you can still fix it. And I think it's really important to know that. And I think doing this challenge can really help with that, because by recording the progress, you can look back 300 reps before and you can see the massive difference in the trick. Now, if you're just going to sessions and just training, then you'll probably end up, you could train the trick for 3-4 weeks, not notice any improvement, And what's happened with me, and I know it happens with most people, if you're not seeing any improvement, you tend to not do the trick as much. Because it gets kind of depressing, you're not really getting anywhere, you're just doing it and it's not getting any better, it still sucks. Whereas if you can look back and you can see, wait a minute, at the start of the month I wasn't as good at it, I have gotten better, it kind of pushes you to keep on it and keep consistently training it. So I think that's the most important thing about this challenge. It motivates you to keep training the trick, which is easier said than done. You can just say, oh yeah, just keep training that trick for 2 years or whatever. But when you're not seeing improvement, it's very easy to fall off, as it's not fun. If you're not getting any better, it's not fun. At least if you think you're not getting any better, because the chances are you are getting better. It's just subtle. So if you record your progress, then you can see the changes over a longer period of time. So I'd suggest any of you, any trick that you're really struggling with, try and do it 1,000 times. Just record your progress. The way I did it is I had a tally counter on my phone, and at the session I just click it every time that I did one, and then at the end of the session, so let's say I'd already done 50 touchdown raises in total, and that session I'd done 20. So I'd make a folder that was 50 to 70, and then I'd put in 1 or 2 clips of my best ones from that session, and I'd just build it all the way up, so I have a folder for each session showing what number I'm on now. Now I made sure I didn't do too many in one session. I think especially with something like touchdown raise, where there's a lot of pressure on your wrist when you do it badly like I do, then you don't want to do too many, because if you get injured, even not a major injury, even if your wrist's just kind of hurting a lot, it's going to stop you from training it so much. So overall you're not going to improve as much. So I had a couple of sessions where I did around 50 touchdown raises and realized that this was hurting my wrist, and instead of doing that, then I thought, okay, I'll limit myself to 25 per session. So after that I made sure I didn't do more than 25 per session, which worked out quite well because it didn't take up too much time in my session. It meant that I was still training the move a good amount, and I didn't get the problems with my wrist from doing it too many times. So I definitely recommend setting a minimum amount of times that you have to do it. Like normally if I really wasn't feeling it, then I'd say, okay, just get 15 done. And also having a maximum amount of times, so you don't do too many and injure yourself, because if it's a move you're not very good at, you're probably doing bad technique, so it's probably going to be tougher on your body than a trick that you are good at. So that's what I'd recommend for going about the 1,000 whatever trick it is that you need to do challenge. One of my main motivations behind this was just teaching myself that I could learn any trick, because after trying this on and off for like 5-6 years, then I started to think maybe my body just can't do touchdown raise properly, I'll never be able to do it. Because when you've tried something for a really long time and not got very far with it, it's easy to start to feel like that. I had a whole summer before where I went out on the grass nearly every single day and I was just doing touchdown raises. I was trying my absolute best at them. They didn't get any better. But I know now that my approach was completely wrong. Because yeah, I was trying to get loads of reps in, I was trying my best to do it, but I didn't fix the fundamental issues. I was stepping around too much, I was turning my foot too much, and if you turn your foot too much, then the whole thing will never work. Until you fix the fundamental issues, it's not gonna work. I've seen this before with people who are bailing corks or can't get enough inversion, they're landing on their side, and it's like, until you get a good enough gainer, it's just not gonna work. So you need to take the time getting the first step right, really. Sometimes taking that step back can really help you in the long run, even if it feels worse. Because when I first started taking off with my foot facing forwards, I couldn't even swing out of my touchdown raise. Now I'd done dub-dub out of it before, doing it the bad technique, but I couldn't even swing out of it. But instead of giving up, then I just pressed on, and after a couple of 100 reps, then it was giving me more power than my touchdown raise had when I was doing it the old way. I hope this information helps you with whatever move you're struggling with, or any move that you just really want to get, because I know it would have really helped me hearing this, because I've never heard anyone give really practical advice on how to get the tricks that you just do not understand at all. And I think this is a really good way. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys try this. I really want to see the difference it makes for people doing the trick 1,000 times. When you do it, hashtag KTL 1000 rep challenge. I want to see what you do. I want to repost them. I want to get this out there as a method of getting the tricks that you really struggle with, as I feel like it will really benefit the tricking community. It seems obvious, but hopefully this explanation has given you a bit more depth into the approach, that it's not just doing it 1,000 times, it's a bit more than that. It's more about how much you focus on it and how you analyze before and after and during every session.